So I figured I would make this quick little video just to break down what I'm eating. And this is what helps me stay, high energy, pretty lean all year round, and build muscle as well. And you'll probably see that it's pretty simple. I'm not a big fan of cooking. I don't particularly enjoy anything to do with food. I don't like grocery shopping. I don't like, cooking. I eat food because I have to. But all of this stuff does taste good. And this is what I found works for me. Like I say to my clients all the time, just because this is what I do doesn't mean this is what you should do. We have very different body types, physiologies, goals. And it's really about trying different foods and figuring out what you feel good eating. So I haven't always eaten like this. I've probably optimized this in, only probably the last couple of years. I've played around with tons of different ways of eating. I was keto for like 3 years, which was good, but it had its own challenges, obviously. Like I've experimented a lot, and this is what I found works for me. Helps me have mental clarity when I'm working, have enough energy to get my workouts done, get through the day. And yeah, stay lean as well, which is obviously a big goal. So I'll break down um, everything here, but yeah, I've got it all listed out. So breakfast, probably 9 days out of 10, I'm going to eat this first one, which is just eggs on sourdough bread with butter. So very simple. The eggs are obviously free range or pasture raised. The butter is grass fed, and the sourdough is a properly fermented, like 3-day ferment sourdough, because that breaks down most of the gluten. It gets rid of like 97% of the gluten in the bread, which is cool because that makes it easier to digest. Gluten tends to be inflammatory for most people. So I do suggest trying to minimize your gluten intake. And I'm just a really big fan of bread. So that's what I usually have. That alone will usually get about 20 grams of protein. I want to be hitting 30 in every meal. So I usually add a side of something like deli meat, half a protein shake, or maybe some Greek yogurt just to get that extra 10 grams to get me up to 30 grams in that one meal. Sometimes I'll have oatmeal. I find that if I have oatmeal too much, it does impact how I feel. So I'd have this maybe once a week. If I'm not feeling like eating eggs, if I want something more sweet, then I'll have this. But this is actually really high protein. Like this alone has 30 grams plus of protein. So you can play around with this. None of this is exact, but this is about what I do. You just put it all in the pot and cook it. Um, yeah, it's very good and tons of protein. And then also, if I'm really not feeling like eggs, I just turn my eggs on toast into French toast. So if you know how to make French toast, you know that, I guess I can add to help you. You just add the eggs and milk into a little mixture. I add a bit of protein powder just to bump up that protein again, some cinnamon, soak the bread in it and cook it. A lot of people think something like this isn't healthy, but it's literally this meal. Just the bread is soaked in the egg instead of putting the egg on top. So just to add a bit of variety, but I do tend to stick to the same meal every day. And also because I do tend to stick to the same meals for all meals of the day, going grocery shopping is actually really easy because I need to make sure I have sourdough, which actually I don't get from the grocery store. I get it delivered from a bakery, but I just need sourdough, eggs, butter, some Greek yogurt, make sure I've always got some protein, and like some oats, and that's kind of it. So it's really, really simple. None of that takes more than, 5 minutes to make. And then lunch, very simple. This is my go-to because I am really lazy when it comes to cooking. And I just put all of that into a pot and boil it for like 3 to 5 minutes. So rice noodles take like no time to cook. I get shrimp that is frozen, but pre-cooked. And then frozen vegetables, again, they're like pre-cooked and just frozen. So really simple. Put it all in a pot, boil it. I might put something like an organic tamari sauce on it just to add some flavor. Then if I feel like actually cooking some proper food, I'll have something like rice with ground beef. I'll add herbs or spices of some sort, obviously just to make it a bit more flavorful. I might put some sriracha on it, something like that. Same with this meal. Again, I feel like cooking. And I'll batch cook these ones. So this one I won't, but the rest of these I will make enough for like 4 days, and I'll just eat that for 4 days straight because I don't care. And I like it to be really simple. And I'm fine with being bored of what I'm eating. So yeah, again, just maybe some sriracha, some spices, some herbs, and then soup. So that's actually what I'm having now. Soups are easy to make. You just put them in the crock pot or slow cooker or whatever you have. some sort of meat, some vegetables, some herbs. If you have bone broth, I do tend to make bone broth at home with the bones from my meals. So I usually have broth and you just put it all in a pot. It's really easy. You can put a ton of protein and vegetables in there, which is really cool. And then for dinner, again, very similar to lunch. So usually something like rice with lamb, beef, fish, or chicken, or potatoes, sweet potatoes, or pumpkin with lamb, beef, fish, or chicken. So pretty simple. Obviously, you can do a lot with that. Like this can be a stir fry, it could be a curry, it could be like a Thai meal, a Vietnamese meal, whatever it is. You can do a lot with that. And then this just tends to be like roast potatoes, sometimes like boiled or mashed, and then fish, yeah, some sort of meat, probably a side of vegetables as well, which would most likely be frozen vegetables. But if something like broccoli is in season, then I would just steam some broccoli as well. And then for snacks, again, pretty simple. Some sort of seedy cracker. They tend to be higher protein and like more fiber, so like a better option than like your mainstream cracker. I'm a big cracker fan. Sourdough again, sometimes cheese, which could be anything from like a cheddar to a Gouda, or I don't know what else I eat, a Havarti, something like that. I'm a big cheese fan. Biltong and jerky, if it can be grass fed, that's ideal. Greek yogurt, dried fruit, or fruit. So it's pretty simple. I would say 98% of what I eat is this. There's the odd time I'll obviously go out for dinner. There's the odd time I will make like a pasta for dinner. Um, that's pretty much all I eat for snacks. I can't even think of something else, but it's pretty simple. And you'll see that it's mainly just real food. Like all of this food, for the most part, is something you could find in nature, or it's not too far removed from nature. Obviously, like rice noodles don't come in nature, but they're not far removed from rice. Um, Same with something like a cracker, like a seedy cracker is pretty much just seeds put together. Sourdough is just flour and bread. Obviously, flour is quite far removed from the original source, but it still only has two ingredients, which is pretty cool. Cheese is largely just dairy and a culture. So hopefully that was helpful. I do keep it really simple. Obviously, not everyone can follow this because some people do get bored and some people like variety. But even within this, like these three breakfasts are all very different. You could just cycle through those three throughout the week. Same with like these, like something like a rice noodle is going to be different to rice, which is obviously different to like something like a sweet potato in a soup. So like there is some variety here. You can play around with it, but this is what I eat. This is what works for me. I recommend testing it, seeing if it works for you, making tweaks. I'm just constantly tweaking and testing. So yeah, like one week, I think I had oatmeal like every day. And I was like, I don't feel great on this. My energy's not good. I'm not very sharp, so probably not going to do that anymore. So now I have it like once a week. So it's all just about figuring out what's going to work best for you and what makes you feel the best.